Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl. Um, does anybody even watch movies anymore? But I just want to start this by saying that I watch a lot of movies, especially apocalyptic sci-fi type of films that literally warn us of our downfall in various different ways. And we seem to keep pushing forward into that scenario. Best case scenario, we might live in like I don't know, Blade Runner land. Best case scenario. But let's be honest, worst case scenario, we live in like Terminator land. The reason I bring this up, I wanted to talk about this news that came out in the past couple of days about AI girlfriends that's been hitting the news lately, where there's this essentially like a pageant or something, but not like a normal pageant where women, beautiful women from various countries are presented and people vote on who's like the most beautiful of their respective country. No. What we have here is AI girlfriend pageants. And it's not even, you would think like, oh, it's just, like selecting the best art piece or something like that. No. These are like dating type of things going on where you actually, whomever is like creating these things are making like dating apps with just AI generated girlfriends, or making these pageants with AI generated people. And it's basically you key in certain things that you like about a woman and it generate, some cartoonist thing that responds to you in a way. If you watch the movie, at least two different movies, one being Her with Joaquin Phoenix, and the other being Blade Runner 2049, where Armor de Armas plays that, hologram girlfriend of the main character played by Ryan Gosling. I forgot the character he plays name. It's basically these two particular things that look like they're coming into fruition, and it's not a good thing for us as a society as a whole. I'm posting up like the New York Post thing here. Tech execs predict AI girlfriends will create $1 billion business. Comfort at the end of the day, which is cap. Greg Eisenberg, CEO of Late Checkout, wrote a blog post on X, in which, formerly Twitter, in which he shared that he met a man in Miami who admitted to him that he spends $10,000 a month on AI girlfriends. I thought he was kidding, Eisenberg wrote, but he's a 24-year-old single guy who loves it. When Eisenberg asked him what he loved about it, the Miami man is quoted as saying, "Some people play video games. I play with AI girlfriends. This is not the same thing." And I'm like, bro. And but I guess this is like a detriment to a lot of, at least majority of Gen Z single guys that aren't in the top 20% of dudes that can just, who's like probably high status in some shape or form. It doesn't necessarily mean in terms of finance, but just in the top 20% that girls, at least most of the women tends to gravitate to just inherently. And it's, I just can't get behind that. I'm like, just not just morally, but just like, on a mental level, like like I can't fathom why you gravitate towards something like that. And I mean, I get to a certain extent, because 80% of dudes, I mean, they did, they ran surveys and simulated tests, using dating apps, showing that, most women consider 80% of guys as unattractive. There's no middle ground for the most part. It's either hot or not. That is it. And if you're not in that automatic hot bracket, you're SOL. So I understand, certain guys' frustrations where they reach to a certain point where they just gonna like a sense. I mean, I don't condone this, but I would rather them just, if they paying $10,000 a month, you might as well just buy a prostitute. At the very least, she's like a human being. But they want that perfect, girlfriend that's a companion, and because a lot of guys at the end of the day want companionship. You'll be shocked how not just sex starved, but just starved for attention, and that genuine, care for the opposite sex. Like, when's the last time a woman just held a guy's hand and just just not in a creepy way, but just a normal guy who has a decent job, carries himself pretty well, isn't bad by normal means, just average, who would generally love you and be monogamous towards you, but it's passed up because some arbitrary ick by a girl who's probably average herself, but just because she probably banged a dude who is way out for a league, but didn't, but he didn't qualify her as a relationship person. But after she banged him, she figures, like, overflated ego, thinking like, oh, this other average guy, even though he's in my peer group, is lesser than, because I managed to hook up with a guy who's higher than. That means I'm worth something, in that bracket. But that's not true. And a lot of, women conflate sexual attraction to relationship kind of attraction, and they conflate those two things. And I blame like at least three people here. I blame, most of the women who are not recognizing their station in life and thinking that they above it all, thinking they can just hook up whatever high status dude that they might come across, or might slip into their DMs, or might fly them to Dubai or whatever, and thinking like, oh, I'm too good for the average dude who you might end up friend zoning or just ignoring altogether, even though he might be that kind of guy that you will want at the end of the day in the long run. I blame them because they pass them up, and they pushing guys like that into these kind of things because they just want a genuine relationship, genuine companionship, because they ain't like the top 27% of dudes who just, racking up girls left and right. Most guys are lucky to just have one girl. Your average guy probably had maybe 3 or 4 bodies to his name in the span of his, let's say he's 30 years old. Probably in the span of his, like, between the time he was, let's say, 17 to the point when he's 30, he probably at best 2 to 4 sexual encounters in his entire span, if that. And I'm being generous here because it's like a new age here. But compared to his female counterpart who, from time when she was probably 16 up until she's 30, she probably got triple that number of their average guy. Probably. And then I blame the people who created these, AI things, pretty much marketing off of, sad, desperate men, and banking off of this utter upheaval. Like I said, it's like $1 billion freaking profit. And I blame most of the simps that's in the 8% male statistic, where they actually go into these things, because, talking to the fellas here, you don't need necessarily to be like Drake or some Wall Street banker or lawyer or whatever like that. Have a pretty decent job that takes care of yourself. Go to the gym every once in a while. Buy decent clothing. You don't need to be, stylish, like Drake or anything like that, but dress pretty well, and just go out there and just take the initiative. Because it's like, you might have like a shot in this day and age, because most girls, from the videos that I've seen, most girls love for a guy to just approach them and talk with them with confidence, even though, what else can you explain, or how you define confidence, other than guy working up the nerve to go across the bar or across the store or whatever, muster up the courage to go up to a girl, introduces himself, not in a creepy way. It's like, hey, I'm Brad, I saw you from across the way, I thought I want to introduce myself. I want to see if I can get to know you or whatever. Like if you're in a coffee shop, like I see you order this particular latte. I tried that. It was, is that latte pretty good? It's like, and just try to spark up a conversation. And it was, most women don't understand, because most women don't initiate conversation or initiate the, first interaction. Is usually left up to the guy. They are clueless on how to operate in this manner. I mean, they probably flirt with girls, but that's not the same, because y'all got the, I see you, we understand on a female level that I can flirt with you, because your guard is down around other girls, so you don't know how to actually talk, via the guy's perspective. You're woefully uneducated on that front. Guys had to not only, work up the nerve to come talk to you, have to be, relatively put together, have to not be creepy, have to know what he's going to say when he goes up there to you, have to probably make you laugh, have to be a little witty, because he had like probably at best 3-minute span of first uttering words to you in order to like formulate all that in this melting pot to hopefully get the number. Even then, that's like, like in the upper 90s percentile of failure rate for most guys. Even like the best looking dudes will still have to put in the work, and even then his chances are are still marginally at like a decent failure rate, because we don't know, because most girls don't even know what they want half the time. But most girls might, find, there's girls that find like Timothée Chalamet attractive, which I don't really freaking get, or certain influencers that's very, that looks very malnourished in terms of body shape, but they find it so attractive. So you don't know what the heck y'all want half the time. So how most men would know? We just have to take our chances. And fellas, don't be afraid of rejection. Okay? Yes, it sucks. It sucks on toast, but You gotta power through that. Look at it this way. Just thank her for not, don't wig out. Just, in your mind, just well, at least you can say, thank you for your time. I just don't want to, like, regret, and at least, talking with you, because you're a very lovely lady. You seem like a very lovely lady. Blah 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 blah, and move the heck on. But look at it this way. She probably just wasn't the girl for you, because you probably dodged a bullet, because Lord knows what she got going on, and her rejecting you probably saving you, monetarily wise, probably saving you your money and time, because that's the biggest thing that guys in general do not like, where they get their money and their time wasted by a girl. Because lots of times men lose a lot of money chasing women, but they gain women by chasing that money. And just working on yourself. You don't need to be the next, CEO of Amazon or anything like that, but just, do what you can in your station of your life. And, if you got like a day job that help pays the bills, great. And try to, if you have a certain dream that you want to achieve, where it's like, music or being the next DJ, whatever the case may be, work on that on the side. And, along the way you might end up, but don't stop. If you're seeing like a girl at a certain venue, don't stop yourself from going there, introducing yourself, and just talk with the girl. Who knows, you might get a shot. But girls also understand, need to like lower your freaking standards, because you're gonna end up paying the major price in the long run, where you, and I know you don't like hearing this, but you got that whole wall thing when you're reaching 35, and then you're gonna be looking where all the good men at, and well, you curved them for most of your 20s because you didn't think they were worth a grain of sand in an hourglass. You gotta see, like, okay, you don't need to like say okay to every dude, but understand, like, there's your ideal guy are just just infinitesimal in the grand scheme of the world. Okay, who knows what you might end up, you might end up liking the guy who works at a bookstore. You might end up liking a guy who might be a plumber. You might end up liking a guy who might be a truck driver, or manager at Planet Fitness or something. You don't know, because you won't give lower your standards and like entertain the idea of going out on a smoothie day or a coffee day and just get to know him, because it's inexpensive for him. As an 1 hour of your time, then 30 minutes to an hour out of your time, if that, to see like, what's this guy about? Is he decently good looking? Doesn't, I'm not saying you should entertain every dude, but it's like, as long as he's not like grossly obese, or he doesn't appear like a freaking bum that's literally off the streets with tattered clothing, then you can probably marginally give a guy a chance. So that way you don't lose out in the long run, where a guy have to be driven towards going to AI generated girlfriends in order to find companionship. It's not going to be good for you, it's not going to be good for him, and the human race will, 2 decades from now, will probably be woefully, what might be an endangered species if this keeps carrying on, because you guys ain't got enough time left. Guys can easily generate like sperm up well until their 80s and stuff like that, but you can't get an AI girlfriend pregnant. Guys will want to continue that bloodline, but it's gonna be also hard if you keep discounting 80% of those dudes, essentially denying him access to continuing his blood lineage. And that's horrible. So yeah, like, in conclusion, I say, like, the people creating these AI girlfriends need to be stopped, so that way you can encourage, you know, people to actually interact in the real world. And these like dating apps ain't helping none either. But then, you know, 80% of you guys go out there, you know, and interact with people, especially women. Go to the gym and work on some kind of discipline. You don't need to make that your full-time job at the gym or anything like that, but just every once in a while, go out to the gym, work on yourself, work on your money, save up your money, work at your job, and build that up, and like just bare minimum, so that way when you can actually take a girl on a date if a girl say yes. And you ladies, lower your standards. Do not lose a potential life mate to a fake woman that's obviously not real. Lower your standards. Give some men a chance. A chance. Just because you're not in the top percent of dudes that you know who I'm talking about too. The Drakes of the world, or like or whatever, like those Wall Street bankers or whomever that walking around with three-piece suits or driving Bentleys or anything like that. Those type of dudes that, or even like, stop banging these drug dealers or these traditional bad boys or F boys. Stop going to those things. You know full well it's not going to end well for you. Go with the nice guy. Go with the safe guy. Go with, well, let's say boring, but it's like, those, guys that isn't out there like that might end up in trouble, or by extension putting you in some kind of danger, who's not effective as like a real dude. Go with a guy with a good head on his shoulders who works like a decent job. Hell, like, if I was a girl, I would have at least gone with like I would have gone with the manager at Foot Locker over some F-boy who sells drugs on the corner. I don't care how well this dude sling the D. They don't give a crap, because that isn't going to be better for me in the long run. You gotta think like that. So please don't let this turn into the whole Blade Runner, her situation down the line, because that's not going to be good for the human race. So please cease all this stuff and think, Mark, think. So that's my thoughts on this. I didn't want to linger too long, but it's crazy how this is like, starting to sprout. I think we all should nip it in the bud before it escalates even further. But follow me in the links in the description, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Take care.